We're going to talk a little bit about the Renaissance. Remember that World War I was where we studied the Renaissance in depth. This is just a quick overview of what took place in the Renaissance. During the 1400s, we start to see, on the continent of Europe, we start to see a rebirth of classical knowledge. When we say classical knowledge, we are talking about the knowledge that both the Romans and the Greeks had if we actually back up. As we move forward, there was this dead period in Europe called the Middle Ages. And near the end of the Middle Ages, in fact, the Renaissance marks the end of the Middle Ages, we start to see a rebirth of learning, a focus on the arts, a focus on science, a focus on this now modern age. The Renaissance is actually going to begin in northern Italy. There are a number of reasons for that, which you went over in World War I. But one of the biggest reasons is that northern Italy was a place where there was a lot of banking, and because there was a lot of banking, there was a lot of money and a lot of merchants who were looking to spend that money. And so they were able to take that money and patronize or buy and be interested in artwork. So the Renaissance is going to begin in northern Italy. It is eventually going to spread to northern Europe. Remember, this whole continent is Europe, okay? So northern Italy up here is where the Renaissance is going to begin, primarily in the visual arts, and then it is going to spread up here to the countries of the Netherlands, Germany, and England, or Great Britain, okay? When we talk about some of the other people and who made accomplishments in the Renaissance, they did it in northern Europe. So let's start here in northern Italy. Let's talk about the visual arts. For our purposes, you only need to know two artists, and they are two artists you're probably already familiar with, so let's just review them real quickly. In the visual arts, we have, first of all, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci is known for these two pieces of artwork. I made a little museum for you here. You've got, first of all, the Mona Lisa, very famous painting, and then the Last Supper. These are the two most famous paintings of this genius, Leonardo da Vinci. If we come over here, Michelangelo was known for three different things. He was known for a number of things, but we're going to focus on three because they're the only ones you need to know. The first is the David, which is this giant statue which is still located in Florence, Italy. He was responsible for the dome on the St. Peter's Basilica, which is the front of the Vatican today, where the Pope lives. So whenever you see news footage of the Pope, he is actually up on a balcony in front of St. Peter's Basilica, and you can actually see this big, beautiful dome. And the third, probably the most famous thing that Michelangelo is known for, is for painting the Sistine Chapel, which again is found inside the Vatican, which is the residence of the Pope and the central point of the Catholic Church worldwide. For our purposes, when you see these different pieces of artwork, the way you can remember it is that Leonardo da Vinci was responsible for paintings, okay? Michelangelo, just remember M, more, okay? It's more than just paintings. It's a sculpture, it's a dome, it's a ceiling, okay, which is also a painting on a ceiling, but it's the ceiling of a building rather than canvas painting, which is what these two pieces of artwork were. So, when we talk about, again, the Renaissance, we are talking about it taking place in northern Italy, okay, which is located here on our map of Europe. It is then going to spread. It is over the next 70 years going to spread up here into Germany. It's going to spread into the Netherlands, and it's going to make its way over here into England. So let's talk about that a little bit. In the Renaissance, we also had a rebirth in the writing of literature for the common everyday person. And William Shakespeare in England is the most famous of the people that wrote new literature during this time period. So he is considered a Renaissance writer. William Shakespeare wrote a bunch of sonnets, plays, and essays, but he is most known for his plays, which were performed here in this famous building called the Globe Theater. So William Shakespeare as a writer is known for sonnets, plays, and essays. The Globe Theater is world famous. There are all kinds of things, terminology, and so on that come from the plays of William Shakespeare. He is known as the best writer in any language of all time. And he wrote in this format called plays, which was relatively new at that time period. It was the ancient Greeks that really pushed plays forward, but there was a long dead period during the Middle Ages in which there were very few formal writers of actual plays. If we drop down here to Erasmus, Erasmus was another writer. He was actually from the Netherlands, and he wrote this book, the book In Praise of Folly. That book actually made fun of the church and started shifting the focus away from the church towards individuals and individual achievement. Erasmus is known as a humanist, and this term humanism means basically a focus on human achievement. Okay? We talk about humanism. It's non-church or secular. Erasmus, in this book, In Praise of Folly, he basically made fun of a lot of the hypocrisy that was found in the church at the time period, which is actually going to be a direct link over to the Reformation, which is what we're going to learn about in our next lesson. That is a quick overview of the Renaissance.